Oh my gosh. If you have a business, but you don't know, or you really, really don't know if you had it set up right, if you're just flying from the seat of your pants, doing this entrepreneur thing, but you've made more than $600, so that makes you a business. Just saying, what if you may not be set up correctly? What if you might not have done all the right steps? What if you might not have filed the right paperwork, or you might not have filed any paperwork at all? What if I want to shift from a kind of sort of sometimes hobby thing that I kind of maybe make money from, and I want to flip this into a business? And what about all the things around that, like all the taxes, all the paperwork, all the things that are kind of scary? And when you say that T word, taxes, like a lot of people go, I don't want to do anything with that. They just avoid it, right? Well, I got you an expert online today. She is totally coming to us virtual. I cannot wait for you to meet her. She is I call her a tax guru. She is actually a certified tax professional, completely different from a CPA, certified public accountant. Two different professions, two different lines of education, two different areas of specialty. Okay, so we're going to clear that up for you today. If you guys are watching with us, thanks so much. Make sure you say hello in the feed. If you are watching us on any other platform other than the Aaron Strayer Show platform, there's a link right above you in the comments. Go ahead and click that and come on over here and say hello. We'll be able to see you and see your comments over here on the Aaron Strayer Show platform. And my name is Aaron Strayer, and recovering corporates and entrepreneurs hire me to get them beyond the basics of business, because most of them are indecisive. They're held hostage by their own fear, and quite honestly, they are flat out complacent. So I help them get past that. I don't know what to do. What's my next steps, and what's standing in my way, right? So bottom line, I provide executive level accountability so that you and your business gets the attention to detail it deserves and needs, and you end up making money. I am ready to bring my little tax guru expert up to the screen. She is clearly remote where she's at, and I am Laura!
How are you, Aaron?
I'm great. Hi, Laura. This is Laura Pendergast, everybody, and she is coming to us live from an undisclosed location.
Absolutely.
Thanks for fitting us into your day today. I know you're crazy busy like the rest of us entrepreneurs, and those of us that roll with all the things that come our way.
Isn't that the truth? You never know what's going to happen. Expect the unexpected. That's the way to live life, right?
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? It's crazy that, it's such a benefit, and it can be sometimes quite a burden too, to have the entrepreneur life and to be remote.
Absolutely.
All at the same time. What do you, in your profession, because I want to just kind of clear this up for some of our people. What is the difference between a CPA and a tax professional? I mean, like, let's just get that out of the way right out of the chute.
Okay, so I'm an enrolled agent. So as far as a CPA, they take a state exam, a very extensive state exam. They work for another CPA for 2 years, and then finally their license is active and they can go out on their own. As far as an enrolled agent, we are specifically tax related. We're licensed by the IRS. We can work in all 50 states. We work along with CPAs and lawyers and anybody else that does any sort of business setups or bookkeeping, any of that, because we're kind of that in-between person that is mainly in taxes, but a lot of us are bookkeepers and a lot of us have accounting backgrounds. In my case, I was in the restaurant business and decided to, the change came, not that I wanted it, but it happened, and I was resilient enough to find a different career to start over and love it and excelled at it. And I'm a tax nerd, so I was always a numbers to fit in.
Self-proclaimed tax nerd. I call you a tax guru, and guru and nerd to me are like one and the same because
Simultaneous, absolutely.
and so from where you stand, I know you, when we talked before, one of the things that stood way out was I end up cleaning up a lot of messes, Aaron. Like I remember you saying that to me, and what do you think the number one oversight of most people is?
For one thing, they jump in with both feet without doing the research. They don't bother to look anything as far as the laws, as far as the rules, even city rules, county rules, let alone state rules and federal rules. And they get excited. They're passionate about something, but they don't look at the rest of the big picture. So they have tunnel vision into the product and making sales, but taxes and setups and all of that goes out the window until they start making some money, and then the IRS or the state starts asking questions. It could be a sales tax issue. It could be unreported income. It could be anything that catches up to them. But something catches up to them, and then they're stuck because now they've been operating a business not as a business. They've been intermingling funds. They have bank accounts.
That's
they have no setup. The liability is all on them, and now the state or the IRS can come after them any way they please. Their assets, everything. So that's the number one problem.
Like, I think that is so scary, like intermingling your personal funds with your business funds. And I know so many people do it and don't admit to do it. Like, it's like,
Right. It's just a few things here and there. This isn't going to make a difference. Yes, it is going to make a difference because now your whole personal side was just opened up by doing that. And they don't understand that. But as far as the liability, that opens up their entire personal bank accounts to be searched for extra income. And I can honestly tell you that they can disallow every expense that's done not using a business account. So it changes the whole situation.
it's so scary too. And I think that another misconception is that, especially with newbies and new entrepreneurs that are out there, well, I'm really not making any money yet.
Right.
I'm really not making any money. Do I really need to file and get an EIN number? Do I really need to do that?
Absolutely. For one thing, with all of the new tax rules, hobbies have always been a difficult thing to use the expenses anyway, because you could only use the expenses to the income that you claimed, and anything else went out the window. So you could bring it down to zero, but you could not have a loss. Once you start having losses, you have to be, as part of a business setup, at least an LLC, should be a corporation, but at least an LLC. At that point, the LLC can be taxed as a Schedule C or a corporation. If it's taxed as a Schedule C, once again, all the liability is you. Because yes, you have an EIN, and yes, you have an LLC, but you haven't moved it off of your Schedule C. So that opens your whole self and any assets to everybody else.
See, and when you start talking those terms, like, it's like foggy to me, right? Like
You and everyone else.
And the whole thing. So, like, square one for those people that are still mixing their money,
right,
would be to file.
Well, first you have to at least file an LLC so that you get an EIN so that you can open a bank account. Now, like I say, you can open the LLC and then choose to have it taxed as a corporation later. But at least you've done the first step of protection by at least filing the LLC, filing the paperwork, starting to follow the rules of operating as a business, using a business plan, opening the bank accounts, advertising everything coming out of that business account, the income going into that business account. That's step number one. Now you're at least a business.
And that's like a whole lot easier than people think, right? Like it's just, you can do it all online.
Correct.
All of it's done online. It's a 2-step process, right?
Correct. You start at your state level. You set it up at your state level. Once you have the approval from the state level, most of the state sites lead you to the IRS site to at least get your EIN. Now, as far as setting up a corporation, yes, obviously there's other steps involved. But once you're even at that spot of getting an EIN, you should also do a business plan, regardless of what your future plans are. If you don't plan your business, you're going to fail. So you either plan to succeed, or you don't plan and you fail.
Yeah.
So that would be number 2. You know.
Is that something that you also help people with? Because I know that your specialty is all about your tax.
Right.
And that's like your lane of
business planning. Business planning is still a part of that. Now, as far as the legal part, I work with lawyers, and you know, any once it gets technical to a legal standpoint, I send it off to a lawyer they do it from there on.
Yeah. See, and I think that there again is a lot of misconception with people. It's like, why would I need to talk to I know we differentiated between a CPA and a tax specialist, but you do so much more than just file people's taxes, right? Like, and advise them on how to do that. And like, you go in for a new business, or for somebody that's set up and not really set up.
Correct.
And you do the cleanup, and you do
business, yes.
The mess. But I know a lot of what you spend time on is making sure that people are successful and finding these loopholes and plugging them.
Correct. Giving, there's a lot of tax credits out there that business owners.
She froze. Drop out and drop back in. Again, you guys, if you're watching from any other platform other than the Aaron Strayer Show, there's a link right above you in the comments. We're talking about taxes and setting up your business properly, all the way from filing as a business and getting your EIN number. Laura's working remotely. I'm hoping she's going to hop out and hop right back in. And refresh her screen. She's frozen. Let's see if we can get her to refresh her screen down there. But she has gone and explained the difference between a CPA, so a certified public accountant who does bookkeeping and those kind of things for you, and a tax expert specialist, which is what she is. And what she does and the loopholes that she connects with and finds for you and finds where you need to be doing business. She's coming back in. So we'll get her back up on screen here in just a second. We'll bring her back up. So what hopping back in, I just kind of looped around and was telling the people again what you do and why it's so important to have a tax specialist in the mix of having a successful business, and why we're talking to you today. So,
correct.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's part of the team. You have it's all part of the systems that you set up. Your professionals, your lawyer, your tax person, your bookkeeper, it's all part of the systems that you have to set up. If you don't have systems, you're sure not going to be successful.
Yeah. So if I'm already an LLC or a C Corp or an S Corp or DBA, right? If I'm already that, how do I somebody on my team?
For one thing, to check to make sure that you're actually getting all the deductions and credits that you should, that you're filing your taxes correctly. And as far as a DBA, that's just a sole prop to begin with. So a DBA is no protection. You have to at least be an LLC, and you really have to be a corporation. But a DBA is just a regular Schedule C.
She froze again. She's given so much good information. So a lot of people have, she's going to have to refresh again. A lot of people have that misconception that a DBA, that they're free and clear on. And she was just starting to tell the difference between a DBA, which is doing business as far as it's not a, you're not okay. You're not okay when you're just filed under a DBA. That's still what's called a Schedule C. And you're still going to be filing as personal taxes. They're not business taxes. And here she comes back in, and it's the joys of working remote.
What a great day.
It's actually going really well. So thanks for hopping back in to do that refresh. I think that DBA is another misconception of so many people too.
Absolutely, because a DBA is yes, it's a different name, but it's you. There's zero level of protection with the DBA. You're exactly right. That's just a misconception.
Yeah, and I think people really feel like that they're really a true business when they are operating under a different name.
Correct.
But they have filed the correct paperwork, and
because as a DBA, it's still your name on that bank account.
Right.
The DBA is a line, but it's your personal name on that bank account. It's not an EIN on that bank account. So
right.
Yeah, so DBA is just a name.
Yeah, and
zero protection.
So what's it look like from your end when somebody comes to you and clearly they've been dragging their feet and they know they need to talk to you, but they really don't want to?
Well, it's a lot of times it's starting over at that point. For most businesses, if they come early enough before they've actually gotten into trouble, then yes, you can fix it and get them going in the right direction and get their EIN and get the bank accounts, and they're up and running. If they're another misconception is payroll, because payroll has to be done through an EIN, and a lot of people are, I have employees, and then you're like, what business are your employees under? Oh, just under me. No, they're not employees. You're fooling yourself. Those are not employees.
Right. And I think people, they feel like, well, I'm cutting corners. I'm saving money by not doing it. And they don't realize how big of a hole they're digging for themselves.
That's exactly right. It's 9 out of 10 times they get their money in tax savings the first time they use us, let alone an ongoing basis. Just a couple of credits or whatever, and you've paid for our services.
Yeah.
So that's a huge misconception, is that we cost a lot and that we can't really, we're not worth our weight in gold, because that's definitely wrong.
Yeah. So if somebody's filed correctly and they're doing all the things that they're supposed to be doing, what's your suggestion for how much they should be putting to the side to pay for Uncle Sam?
If they're doing everything correctly and they're, again, now it's going to depend what bracket you're in. If you use the right expenses and you keep yourself below 50,000, 25%. But if you're not doing things correctly, then you got to be putting 33% away every time. And that's, yes, the new numbers are lower, but especially if you're in a state that has tax, you're talking, an extra 5% for every state. So it just, that all depends on what state they're in.
Yeah, and I want to loop back around that you're certified in every state.
Correct.
You work remote. Your specialty is working with businesses and people that may or may not have a pretty big mess when they come to you.
Correct. Either way.
And I love the name of your company, Turtle Returns. I love that. I love it. I love it. Like it just makes me smile and it makes me like feel good and it makes me go, okay, the turtle always wins. Slow and steady wins the race, right?
Yep.
Just keep at it. Like don't let the fear of, oh my gosh, I'm not set up right, stand in the way. I know that
Exactly.
your people, what do people say about you after they worked with you, Laura?
They come back, that's for sure. They're always, you know, people are funny about hiring a tax person, but once they've actually spoken to me, even, and that's, people are always saying, how do you market yourself? Just like this. You have to get out there, you have to speak to people. It's speaking to people and letting your authenticity come through. And once they're on the phone and I've given them a couple of hints of what they're doing or not doing, and I always ask personal details so that when I talk to them the next time, I can ask how a child's doing or how a father, parent, or whatever, something outside of the business.
Yeah.
And then that takes them to a different comfort level of when you have to discuss the business. Yeah. And that's a key. That's a main key that anybody in business should remember.
I 100,000% agree with you there. When you have those personal conversations, you guys, I know that there's quite a few people online with us and our numbers are differentiating between my phone and what I can see on my screen here. But if you guys have some specific questions for Laura concerning taxes, put them in the feed and we'll make sure we answer them. We got about, I don't know, a little bit more than 8 minutes left here, Laura, with our time today. But I wanna like if you have some things that you absolutely want to cover today with the people, like let's just go there. Like if there are some specific tips or, should they be, what should they be tracking that they're probably not? Receipts. Should they be tracking all their receipts and clocking their mileage? And
again, everybody's saying, oh, with these new tax rules that we get the 20%. Well, maybe not. As somebody in the tax industry, we do not. We will have to track receipts like we've always done. I see Lauren is involved. That's one of the collaborations that I've just gotten involved with, as she does very similar work as I do, and she is a lawyer, so we kind of feed off each other, and we're doing a thing. She's started this company of Scale Up Checkup. So we do a checkup, we do a basic assessment of your current business, which everybody should have. And that asks all the details, whether you have a website, whether you have insurance, do you have employees, how long have you been in business, what is your specialty. It covers everything. What kind of marketing are you doing? So you do this assessment, and then we have a whole team to fill in those blanks of where your shortcomings are. So if you don't have a website, we have IT people. If you don't have insurance, I'm an insurance agent. We also have insurance brokers on the team. If you need legal help, we have Lauren and other lawyers. There's other bookkeepers. So Scale Up Checkup is a real key right now, especially for the type of people I deal with. We got involved with it just because we've been going back and forth with people in that woman-to-woman group. But I was already doing this type of work, and she was already doing this type of work, so it was just kind of a perfect fit for her to bring me on board, and for me to also transfer clients to her that need the legal process. So that's one of the things that we're doing as well.
And when you find people like that, those collaborations are so huge. It's almost like a match made in heaven, and it makes it almost like your client, whether they come to you or they come to Laura, Lauren, and Laura, L squared. Whichever one they come to first, there's that know, like, and trust that's already created with your, and they trust the suggestions and the referrals that you are making. Correct. And if you already have that part of that team, it makes it so much easier for your client to transition to the other person for that additional help and that lane of focus, that wheelhouse, if you will, for help. I mean, it's brilliant. It's
Yep.
brilliant when you can combine forces like that. And
Yeah, that's why I contact a lot of bookkeepers and CPAs and other EAs that aren't doing the resolution part of it. And that's where a lot of my collaborations come from, because I know a lot of bookkeepers that do the books, but they don't do taxes.
yeah,
And there's a lot of CPAs that's the same way. They do the bookkeeping end of it, but they don't like the tax end of it. Or they do the tax end of it, but they don't like the resolution end of it because they don't really like dealing with the IRS or the states. So that's where I come in and be a handy helper for them.
the handy helper. I love it because it really is, like, turnkey comes to mind for me when you're talking about that, and it just makes that transition, and that I don't that stuff, tax, things like that always make my stomach just a little irpy. And you know, am I doing it right? Am I right? Like, I get a little acid in the back of my throat, and but when you have a personal relationship with people like you, and you know what, you're just real like I am, and you just happen to have a brilliance in the lane of taxes and where you can help me as a business owner. It just seems easy to be able to reach out and tap that resource and to bring you on board and really go, "Hey, check out my stuff and see where I'm going from, and where I can, you know, use some help." And
Yep,
then
absolutely.
and work around.
The workaround. That's it. That's where I come in very handy, because I'm very good at finding those workarounds so that you can continue to concentrate on your business while I'm fixing your issues on the back end.
Seeing it's
Workaround is that's a perfect word. I hear that quite often. What's the workaround for this? Well,
yeah, finding another way, right? Like, get me
yep,
over, under, through it. I don't care, but just find another way to get me around it, and let's move forward. And you know, the longer you wait to take care of anything, it just sits and festers and festers and festers, and then before you know it, you got a big issue on your hand. So reach out to somebody like you. Laura, where can people find you?
they can find me on Facebook at Turtle Returns. They can find me on Alignable. It's Turtle Returns and my name. They can find me on LinkedIn, and that will be unlocked very soon. And
is that right? Turtle Returns LLC? She froze again. But Turtle Returns is where you find her on Facebook, everybody. This has been Laura Pendergast. She is a certified tax specialist. She is a guru in her own right. She has been certified since 2005. She deals with entrepreneurs, small businesses, brick and mortars, partners up with our attorney that's been on here today, Lauren Cohen, and they have a great partnership. I'll bring you back up to close the show out here, Laura, and
well, it's truly virtual today, no doubt about that.
I know, we love it, and it's a Turtle Return. It's where you find Laura, and I highly recommend to reach out to her. Even just have her look at what you already have done, the paperwork that you already have filed. Make sure that you're up to date, that all your T's are crossed and I's are dotted, and see where she can find some extra money for you. Probably, because that's
Absolutely.
awesome. Hey, will you drop some links in the feed when we're done here, Laura, so people can just click on that and go to find you?
Definitely.
Awesome. I really appreciate you being here, bringing all your wisdom and your tax information with us today. You guys, again, if there's a solid resource here for setting up your business to succeed. That's all she wants to do. That's her main focus in her world, is to make sure that you and your business are set up to succeed. So reach out to her if you have questions. Turtle Returns. Is it LLC, right? Turtle
It is
Returns
LLC,
LLC.
yes.
Yep. Turtle Returns LLC is where she's at. And you can find her on Facebook or on online. So awesome. Awesome. Really appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you
Laura.
very much, Erin. It was fantastic speaking with you, and I look forward to speaking with you again very soon.
Awesome. For just a few seconds, and everybody else, thank you so much for being with us. If you were with us live, I really appreciate that. We acknowledge your time that you've taken away from your desk or wherever you're at. If you're watching our replay, please make sure you hashtag replay for us. Let us know that you're watching and taking that time out of your day to watch the replay of this. And we're live every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. If that's something that interests you, just type live in the comments below and we'll make sure that you get a heads up every time we're on the air talking to amazing female entrepreneurs that are out in the world doing things just a little bit differently. We'll see you soon.